Welcome to Scott's Rad Travel Talks. I'm the founder, Scott Radisi. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to be joined today by Tammy Richardson, small business owner of Fairy Tales and Sunsets Travel. Hi, Tammy. How are you?
Hey Scott, I'm great. Thank you so much for including me.
Oh,
I'm so
absolutely.
excited
It's
to be
just
here.
a great opportunity to have a little chat about the wonderful world of travel. And I'm
Yeah,
seeing something. We're talking about different destinations, talking about different travel types, and I'm having a hard time seeing anything other than a pair of ears on your head. You want to tell me where you are first? We got to start right there because of those ears.
of course. So I flew down last Thursday for to come to Walt Disney World
Awesome.
opening. Of course, everybody has to
Mhm.
be here for the grand opening or reopening, I should say. So I came for the opening of Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Disney's Animal Kingdom, and
Wow,
then I jumped over to Universal for the second time in a month.
that's good. The second time in a month. Did you really? Been
Yes,
down quite a bit to check this out.
yes.
That's awesome. Now, as a travel agency owner, first off, let's talk about that name, Fairy Tales and Sunsets Travel. Love the name. I think it covers everything I want in my life, fairy tales and sunsets. But tell me a little bit about yourself, about your agency.
Yes, thank you, Scott. So I actually wanted the name to be broad. I wanted it to cover, the theme parks, sunsets, the Caribbean, Hawaii, just international travel because we're a full service travel agency. So, of course, my passions, Walt Disney World, Universal, the Caribbean, you already know this.
Yeah.
And so I've been in the business for 6.5 years.
Okay.
I've opened up my agency almost 2 years. It's been almost 2 years. So,
That you've owned your own. Okay.
yes.
Good. Good. Now, so you specialize in the theme parks here in Orlando and probably elsewhere as well, Disneyland in California, anywhere somebody wants to go. Universal, I love it. Now this is your second time already back at Universal. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yes, I came down the week after they opened,
Love it.
and then I, of course, came down for the opening at Magic Kingdom.
For
So,
the opening. That's great. Now, we should say we're talking here in mid-July. We do know we're still going through, unfortunately, a global pandemic. And I think it's just so important. And that's why I want to have these chats with travel business owners. You've taken the chance to come down to Orlando. And I say come down because this is where I live, is in Central Florida. You've taken the chance to come down and just experience it for yourself. So if you don't mind sharing with our viewers, what have you seen? Tell me about the overall impressions that you've had from your first trip going to Universal and then coming back this week with experience in the Disney parks as well as back to Universal. Tell me about your overall take on what you're seeing.
sure. So, of course, the pandemic has changed the way that we're doing everything. I will say, so I was really impressed with, I'll start with Universal.
Okay.
So as soon as you walk in the door, they take your temperature,
Okay.
they give you a wristband. Each day is a different color, so you have to get tested each day.
Oh,
I
good.
love being tested at the resort because it kind of streamlines the process going into the park. So they see your band, they know you're coming, you're good,
Good.
they let you in. There is, oh my goodness, there's so many of the Purell hand sanitizer stations.
Dispensers. Good.
Yes, they're everywhere. And then, of course, on some of the attractions, they're handing, the cast members come by and they just pump some in your hand for you.
They just have it
So,
with them.
yes, for example,
Nice.
like on Despicable Me, they were going around to each group, and, there's the markings on the floor. So everybody is really practicing social distancing,
Good.
which I have seen that in both Universal and Walt Disney World. They're really following those protocols.
Good.
And, everyone has on a mask.
Okay.
And of course, being in 105 heat index in
Yeah.
a mask can be a little challenging. So what I tried to do is from around 1 to 3, that's when I would take my breaks.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be so overheated and exhausting.
The hottest part of that day. Sure.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But I will say I've really, so they're cleaning the rooms. I know at Universal they
Good.
said it's 24 to 48 hours before the next person can stay in the room.
they're taking a break with the room. So they have a guest, they leave it for a night and then clean it,
Yeah.
sanitize it, get it ready for the next guest.
Yes.
That's like you said, it's a new world that we're in. So that's a nice protocol right there. That's good to
Yes.
know.
Yes, it really is. And so the only place that you can not wear a mask, where you can take it off, is of course in your room, which
Mm,
I'm in my room at Pop Century.
good.
And so it's only when you're in your room or when you're eating or drinking.
Okay.
So they have relaxation stations. Both theme
Nice.
parks do.
Do
And
they?
those are mask-free zones. Of
Oh,
course,
good.
they have markings on the floor, like you can sit here.
I was
And
going to ask that. There's still
yeah,
social distancing though, even in those zones, correct?
yes,
Good.
exactly.
Good.
Yeah. So of course, when it's 105 heat index, you're going to go find those
I
relaxation
bet.
stations.
Exactly.
Yes. And I didn't have any problems. So they're listed on the maps and
Good.
they're listed throughout the park. And of course, the cast members are really great about telling you, oh, hey, it's just right around the corner or you can find it here. So,
Oh, good. They can point you right to it. You can help you find it and
yeah.
everything. Okay. Now you mentioned the hotels, and that's great how they're keeping them clean, sanitizing the restaurants and everything like that. Tell me more about that experience. Tell me about the transportation. How did you feel getting on some of the shuttles? I'm not sure exactly what transportation you took from the airport to the parks, but tell me about that as well.
Yeah. So I did. I have a dear sweet friend that picked me up at the airport when
Good.
I arrived. So today I will take Disney's Magical Express back to the airport.
Okay.
But I did take the bus transportation with Universal and with Disney,
Okay.
and the seats are numbered. So the
Oh,
bus
really?
driver actually tells you or your group where to sit.
Okay.
So
Good.
that way there's social distancing, and they also have the like glass partitions that are like this
Oh,
in
do they?
between the sections.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Between kind of the rows of the seats?
Right.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so like section one on a bus would
Yeah.
be two across from each other. So a
Gotcha.
total of four seats.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that works really well.
Wow. Now, I think I've heard about reservations or times you can go either to the parks. Tell me about your access to the theme park itself, maybe Disney. How did that work? How did you get on rides, that kind of thing? You mentioned social distancing, which, hey, it's our world we're in now. It's a great practice that they're doing. But tell me about how you knew which day to go to the parks and then how you got through the ride line, the queues and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Disney, when they started their reopening, they did park passes. So
Okay.
you have to pick, like for example, today I selected Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
I can only go to Magic Kingdom.
Gotcha.
I cannot go to Animal Kingdom or Epcot. There's no park hopping. So
Okay.
you have to select. And if that park is available, you get in. If it's not, it tells you there's no more park passes for the day.
Online when you go to set your reservation kind of a thing?
Correct.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
that's how they're controlling capacity.
Got it.
So one thing I've seen a lot of people ask, and of course we've been sharing with our clients, you can leave the same park and come back in the same day.
Okay.
You
Interesting.
just can't park hop.
Got
Now
it.
you have to know if you're leaving Magic Kingdom and you're going to come back this evening, you have to go through temperature check again.
You do have to do that. And
Yes,
that's fair because everybody goes through temperature check every time in the gate.
correct.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good. Then what
But
about the lines? What about the rides? And I've seen you've been posting some live videos. I've seen a couple videos of you on the rides, which well done on that. I love your laugh when you were on that ride. I saw that.
oh, that's so funny. Yeah, well, so I love Slinky Dog Dash. I could ride it over the roller coasters. They make me laugh so much. I just have so
That's
much fun
awesome.
with it. And so, I will say a lot of people have the assumption that it's lower capacity, shorter wait times. And on most attractions, that's true. However, they're having to stop those attractions every so often and clean them.
Okay.
So that
Good. Every couple hours, something like that, they
yeah.
have to do that. Oh,
Mhm.
good. Okay.
Yes. So what they're doing is they're going in, they stop Splash Mountain, they stop Big Thunder, Mountain Railroad. They stop all of those and they clean them, then they start back. So, and
Okay.
of course, you can arrive to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and the line is all the way out, to past Splash Mountain.
Yeah, I know where that
However,
is. Okay.
but you have to consider you're doing social distancing. So those people in line in front of you are standing 6 feet apart.
Gotcha.
So it's
Yes.
really not as bad as you think.
Right.
Once it starts moving, you're like, oh my goodness, this is,
Okay.
this is Christmas lines. What is this?
Yeah, it's what it feels like at first, right? That's interesting. That's a
Yes,
great
or fall
observation.
break. Yeah,
Yeah.
or fall break. So, but that's not the case. And one thing I will say that I loved, they have put those partitions in between each walkway. So you know how the ride queue laps around.
Yes.
So if you're going to be side by side, there is that glass partition.
Oh, when you're coming up in the queue, you come back this way.
Yeah.
There's a partition there.
Yes.
That's a great move. You don't think about that. If I'm standing this way in a line and there's someone this way and I'm talking or looking that way toward the front of the line, if you will, right? I'm
Right.
looking at more of a glass partition now.
Yes.
I love it. That's a
Yes.
great thought. That's a great move.
Yes, and the only exception that I noticed to that was inside of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Okay.
And there was one that did not have any 6 feet social distance.
Okay.
And I said, why? Where's the partition?
Mm-hmm.
And then we started looking around. I said, oh, it's because they don't have the partition on the other side. So they're keeping it separate to where you're not standing right beside each other.
Where you just don't get into that situation.
Exactly.
Okay. They spread out the line that way instead.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
that's great. Okay.
Yes.
It was interesting seeing in the news and following what the theme parks in Orlando were doing. And the way you're explaining it makes me think, Disney was opening later. But what you're describing to me at what you're seeing, Disney's the biggest theme park in the world, Disney World, right? And they've got to take their time to make sure that they do it the Disney way, and they're going to get it right. And I think what you're explaining helps everybody understand just how, nothing's guaranteed in life, but I think it's just those extra steps that are keeping people safe. You're helping, your clients feel confident and comfortable about coming down to Orlando and getting back into that little sense of normalcy to get back to the theme parks. And that's great. Anything else you want to share maybe about Universal, your experience there, what you saw from a social distancing perspective, partitions, things like that about the parks?
Yeah, I'll say the same thing with Universal,
Good.
that they had the markings on the floor.
Okay.
So you did. I mean, they even do these in the restaurants.
Did they? Okay.
Yes. And so the restaurants are every other table.
Okay. They actually had them turned
Yes.
shut
Yes.
down and can sit there.
Mhm.
Good.
Yes. So the only thing that I thought was a little, not really odd, I understood it.
Okay.
So City Walk restaurants did not open until 4 p.m.
Okay.
And I guess that's the way that they can kind of control everything.
That makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense. And the food ordering is totally different.
Is it?
So, yeah, so at Disney for the quick services. So at Walt Disney World, you have to actually use the My Disney Experience app. You order your food.
Okay.
It pops up and says you're ready. You go up to the cast member. They show you where to go.
Good.
And that's how they're really controlling the crowds.
Okay. That
So
makes sense too. You're not sitting in a big crowd waiting for your food like I've done in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's one entrance in and one exit out.
Okay, good.
And they have cast members, and this is at both theme parks. They have them at every one of them, and they're like, no, sorry, you have to go this way.
Okay.
So they're really keeping that flow going.
Yeah.
And the other thing I will close with, Scott, was it's something that I just want to reach out to anyone that sees this is just remember these cast members are so grateful to be back.
Oh, I bet.
When we walked in Magic Kingdom, they were clapping. They had us crying. They were crying, saying, welcome home. Yeah, it was so sweet.
That's awesome.
But they're only doing their jobs.
Yeah.
So if they see someone without their mask on below their nose, I've seen a few people trying to get away with that. And they'll say, hey, and people are getting upset. Remember, they're just doing their job.
Right.
They're just following the rules and guidelines.
Yeah.
So, if you want to come to Disney, if you want to come on vacation, where, masks are required, just wear the mask.
Right.
It's simple.
Right.
Just
Right.
wear the mask so that we can all keep coming back.
There you go. Let's keep it
You know,
open, right? Exactly.
but
And the protocols that they've put in place just seem so, I mean, to build my confidence and listening to you talk about this, it's just great. And you're right. These cast members, you're exactly right. They're doing their jobs, but think about how long they were out of work. Let's all do
yeah,
our part. Let's do everything we can to keep them working. And what
yeah,
you've explained, I think, is just going to do everything we can. And here we are talking again in mid-July. We can't predict the future. We don't know what's going to happen later in the summer, in the fall, things like that. So it's interesting. It's an interesting time, and it's just what we have to, what we have to do, what we have to adhere to. So I appreciate your perspectives on all of that. I do have one more question. As a travel agency owner, what do you think? Put your travel agency hat on. This is your chance. And you've been explaining it, I think, very well, eloquently this whole time. What do you think the importance is of booking a Disney, a Universal, a Caribbean vacation with a travel agency over booking it themselves going online? Talk to me about that.
sure. Well, one thing is we're not a call center. You can reach us 24/7.
Yeah.
We are always available. We work with our clients, during travel, before, and even when they get home.
Right.
I've solved issues for a client 4 months after she returned home.
Wow.
I mean, we're always there for our clients. You won't get that with an online booking
I just don't think so
center.
either.
I'm sorry, you will not.
Right.
And the other thing is we are, lack of better words, we're feet on the ground. We're always on top of things. We stay in the know. We form relationships with our business development managers, with our
Yes.
suppliers. And you can't get that with an online booking engine.
Right.
And just like this trip, this was research for our agency.
Absolutely.
And so I can go back to all of my team members and say, okay, here's what I learned. And actually, I had FaceTimed with them this week while I've been
Oh,
here,
good.
just so that they would kind of know, like, here are the changes, here's
What
what
you're
you need to
seeing.
know. And it's all about making sure our clients are taken care of,
Right.
because you cannot turn around from a bad vacation.
Right. Right.
So we are always here for our clients, and we're going to make sure that they have what they need,
Yeah.
because it's all about memories.
Absolutely. And I think I want to just end it with that first point you made to answer this question. You're not a call center. When you book your clients on a trip to Orlando, they're not looking for the next person to help them with any issue that arises before their trip, during their trip, after their trip, as you've explained. They're calling Tammy. And that's what's so important. And when your agents, your team are booking their clients, it's the same thing. And I think that, thank you for sharing those thoughts, your thoughts from the heart. And that's exactly what I wanted this to be, is you sharing your experience. And you're working this week.
Yes.
Let me ask you a quick question about that right there. Yes or no? Have you helped a client? And I know we don't have a whole lot of clients right now. We're getting back into that world of booking clients. But Tammy, have you been able to help a client this week while you're either at the park or while you're here and traveling?
Oh my goodness, yes. I've actually been booking people this week while I've been
Good for
here.
you.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I have clients coming. We actually have clients traveling to Disney and Universal the rest of this month.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
so they were texting me, "Oh my goodness, I love the live videos, and
That's great.
what about this?" And I'll say, "Oh yes, I'm going to do a post about that soon,
Yeah.
so be watching." And so it's been really great to be
Good.
here. And yes, anytime we travel, I don't know that we get vacations.
I don't really think you do. I've been in the industry over 15 years. I've been working with travel agencies and agents that whole time. You guys don't take a break. As much as people think, oh, Tammy's on another trip to Orlando, Tammy's on another vacation, you're working by that pool. You're working in the park. I know you were working in the park.
Yes,
I knew the answer to that question
yes.
because it's just what I've come to know about the entrepreneurial spirit that you possess. And I love it. And I just, I've had the chance to know you now for 2, maybe 3 years. And I just love your spirit, your energy, and it's just infectious. And I just, wanted you to
Thank
highlight
you.
that. And thank you for the time today. And, I hope everybody just takes a listen to this video and understands how important it is to get back to travel, but in a
Yes,
safe way. So, Tammy, any
yes.
final words you want to share?
I I think we covered everything, Scott. I just wanted to say thank you so much for this interview and the opportunity just to share, our experience here and just coming down. And, I came without my husband, and he doesn't know how many ears I've bought this time.
Oh, goodness.
We don't
At
tell
least you
our
put the one pair on during this. You didn't change out. We didn't go through costume changes.
No.
That's good. That's
Yes, but I will say everyone has to do what they're comfortable with.
Absolutely.
When it comes to travel.
Yeah.
But we are definitely seeing an increase on people wanting to book, the United States, Disney, Universal. And so will I come back this year? Absolutely. If my husband would let me, I'd probably come back in August.
You'd probably come back next month and every month. And I get it. I love it. Tammy, thank you so much for joining Scott's Rad Travel Talks. I appreciate the time today and all your great insights. Thank you. And I hope everybody watching this learned a little bit. We appreciate your time. And Tammy, go enjoy the parks. Let's stop chatting so you can get back to Disney today.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you, Scott. Thank you again.
You got it. Thanks.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.